overarching question on how was I able to do this, YouTube was the way that I was able to buy this house. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm glad that this is your first video of me because it's gonna be a good one. Disclaimer, I don't know how the audio is gonna sound because I'm by a window right now and cars keep passing, so we're just gonna see. Before I get started, I am super cute and comfy today. Wearing a t-shirt by a brand called In-Store Sale. They carry a lot of, this is like the generic brand t-shirt, but they have a lot of like other cute t-shirts that you guys can check out, as well as like other gadgets and stuff. And if you do, you can get 20% off your purchase by using this code. You know I had to hook y'all up. So let's just get right to it. If you guys don't already know, I posted this video called I bought my first house at 22. So I've been doing a home series based off of that. Okay, Ava's on my lap now. So I've been doing a home series based off of that, just my journey, decorating my house, just doing different projects and things like that. But I know a highly requested video was just to talk about my journey and my process, I guess, into why I bought a house and how I was able to do it. So let's get into it. Ava. I do have some questions. Oh no. All right, so all of my questions deleted. So I wrote some new questions just to kind of gear the conversation. So why did I want to buy a house? I actually did not want to buy a house at first, and that's crazy to think about because hindsight, this was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. But at first, I just didn't think that it was something that I could actually do right now. So when I was looking at apartments, I was looking for 2-bedroom apartments because really I just wanted extra space, one extra room to film my YouTube videos, and I was gonna be fine. You know, so I was looking, and honestly, I was still willing to pay the price for a 2-bedroom apartment. But then I talked with my best friend, Savannah, and she was like, girl, you just need to buy a house. And I was like, no. Mainly because I felt like that seemed something so far into my future. You know, like I didn't feel like it was something that I could do right now. So I was like, no, maybe down the line, I'll just rent for now and then buy one later. And she's like, what's the point of that? Because you're gonna continue to have to put that money into renting. You can't really save as much as you want. So I was like, I guess you're right. So that kind of was the reason why I said, okay, let me start looking into houses. So I guess that gets into the next question for what is my opinion on renting versus buying. You do what works best for you and what you can do at that point in time. But now looking back, I feel like it's way better buying because what I'm paying basically on a monthly basis as far as mortgage, taxes, homeowner's insurance, and all my regular bills on top of that is basically still the same amount, just a little bit higher than some of the 2-bedroom apartments that I was looking at. So I was just like, I'm so glad that I'm investing this money into myself now opposed to just throwing it away. And I don't want to say throwing it away because you're not technically throwing that money away because you are living, you're paying rent to have some place to live. But I definitely feel like if you can make that decision for yourself, it makes sense to do it. Even if it's not your forever home too. Like, I love this house, but I don't think that this is my forever home. This, I feel, is my starter home, a home that I can have enough space to rent out to a small family or sell to a small family years and years to come. But I don't feel like this is a home that I'm gonna be in for the rest of my life. So feeling like this is an investment for myself and something that I could have as another stream of income one day if I rent it out seemed like the smarter thing for me. One major tip, and I'm not a financial advisor, the one major tip that I would give to somebody that wants to buy a house is to make sure your credit is great. Okay, like make sure you have good credit. Like I have a student loan, I have a credit card. I didn't have to have my balance down to 0. You just have to make sure that you're paying your monthly payments every single month and that they're on time. And that's how I've been able to kind of sustain a good credit score where I can do things like this and I can get things that I want that require financing or anything like that because I've been working on my credit. So I feel like that's the #1 tip or point of advice that I would give to a friend or anyone asking me like, how were you able to buy this house? Having a good credit score, because that is imperative to some of the steps that you have to take. So I guess we can get into that as far as what my journey was and the steps I took. So I'll just kind of go into the timeline, almost like a little story time. So sit back and relax. You guys like my new couch? I got this sofa from minutes ago, or this sectional. So I was looking for 2-bedroom apartments and I was very stuck on that. But then when my best friend talked to me, I said, okay, let me be a little bit more open-minded. So at this point, I decided to reach out to some mortgage lenders. First spoke with Bank of America. I really just called to see, like, what am I getting myself into? Like, what is the process for this? I called a mortgage lender to basically get information on how to get a pre-approval. This allows you to kind of go shopping for homes with more authority because you're pre-approved for a specific amount. Like, this is how much of a house that you can afford. So I was like, I wonder how much I can get pre-approved for. So I talked with him, and then like literally we were on the phone for a few minutes, and then he was like, all right, like, I was able to get you pre-approved for X amount. I'm not gonna say amounts here because I don't know what is too much information to give. But he was, and I was just like, what the fuck? I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, okay, thank you. And so I was like, okay, I don't wanna like just set myself to this one lender because you want to take into consideration interest rates and just different packages for what type of loan that you're getting. There's different types of loans. So I talked with another mortgage lender. The loan was basically the same as far as like interest rate, what they could do to help with closing costs and things like that. So it was basically neck and neck. But one thing different about this lender was he was very talkative, thorough, with giving me information, allowed me to feel comfortable asking a lot of questions. So we stayed on the phone for about an hour, and he got me a pre-approval for the same amount of house. So now I have my pre-approval letter for X amount. Now I'm searching and shopping for houses. Still at this point, I was thinking I'm probably gonna get an apartment. I just want to see what's out there. I was seeing a lot of different options, but this is when I knew that I wanted a new construction home. The reason being, coming from, I lived in a luxury apartment. It was called a luxury apartment. Coming from that, I love that lifestyle because everything was renovated. It was up to date. Like, I just felt like I don't have to worry about anything. I feel, you know, modern. I feel up to the times. So I definitely wanted something, you know, a bit newer because my main thing was I didn't want to have to worry about fixing up an older house because that's a lot of money that you are just putting in, like your own cash money that's not like going into your loan that you don't really get back. Then I narrowed down my search even more to townhomes / condos. I felt good with being in a townhome where someone is beside me, and also I don't have to worry about the landscaping and things like that, the exterior of the home. So at this point, I knew how much I could afford for a home. Mind you, yes, I had that pre-approval amount, but I still wanted to budget for below that, just to kind of gauge what my monthly expenses would be. So I kind of knew what would be in my budget at this point. I knew what type of home I wanted. I wanted a townhome / condo. That was a new build or a new construction. And yeah, so that was kind of like my main criteria. Then I just filtered my searches and started looking. So I found a lot of different homes that I liked, and I made a list. I had a realtor, his name is Jack. So I was like, Jack, here's some homes that I wanna look at. He was like, great, here's a dashboard. Here's some houses that I think you should look at too. Like, tell me which ones you like, tell me which ones you don't. And I was like, cool. So we looked at a total of 7 different houses. And honestly, that's a lot to me because they start running into each other a little bit because you like one thing and then you think it's in one house. So I walked into this casa. I don't know, I felt like I knew that this was my house. Like, I'm a very visual person, and I was saying this to my line sister the other day, but I'm very visual. If I can visualize the end result or something, or I can picture myself in something, I'm very confident and I have a lot of faith that that's meant for me. So when I walked in here, and it was set up as a model at this point in time, I had it set up so pretty, obviously as a model, but my like face lit up and I was like, oh shoot, like I might end up actually trying to get this. But I was just like, I don't know, mama, this might be mine. Fast forwarding, my realtor, basically we were talking with the builders because this was a new construction. We talked with them, got the price dropped down just a little bit, and then they threw in all of the appliances. The refrigerator was already gonna come with it, but we talked them into keeping the washer and dryer that they accidentally put in here. Basically, in order to put it under contract, I had to put down a down payment to the builder, which was only 1% of the house's value. And I had to give them that to secure it and say, now it's under contract, like basically this is mine. From that point, when I signed that agreement, 30 days later was my closing date. So I had 30 days to make sure all my documents and everything was in for my lender so that I can be ready to close and get the keys to my house. What was the hardest part about the entire experience? It actually was easier than I thought it was going to be. I feel like the most stressful part is just having to constantly like get calls from literally everyone under the sun, and then get a lot of documents together to give to your lender, and you know, just random things. Like they asked for my diploma, like my college transcripts. It was also interesting because they pay a lot of attention to like all of the assets that you have. If you're spending a lot of money out, if you're getting deposits in, like you have to be able to basically give reason for those things. So I couldn't, like, say if someone wanted to give me $2,000, they couldn't just cash app that to me and it's like unidentifiable. Like they would need to give a letter of like gifting and say, I'm giving this person a gift, they don't have to pay me this back. So it's very like very strict on those type of things in my experience. But I would say that was probably the most difficult part, as well as taking my money out for closing to give to the attorney's office. Transferring that money over was probably the hardest part, to see the money just go away. 7 days before closing day, I had my blue tape walkthrough. So basically I walked through the house with the builder. He told me about the warranties that I have on my appliances, my emergency contacts for like energy and stuff like that. And then we walked around the house and put blue tape on the walls for anything I wanted them to refreshen up, whether that was wall paint or something on the carpet, things like that. But the house looked like perfect. They moved all the furniture out and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is perfect. During that same time, my inspector came and he inspected the whole house, gave the report to the builder so that they were kind of aligned on what fixes needed to be made. There were very minor fixes that needed to be made because this was a new build. So again, that was another thing that I was kind of relieved about getting a new construction home. Fast forward 7 days later, it is closing day. Basically on this day, I went back to the house and did the final walkthrough just to kind of make sure that everything still looked pristine and that I wanted to sign my life away, and it did. So then I went to the attorney's office. This is where I met with my realtor as well as the attorney so that we can sign off on basically all of my documents for the house. So the lender transferred over all of the money for the house that morning, and I brought all my money for cash to closing, and I just signed a whole bunch of documents and papers, basically, you know, saying like, yep, I promise that I'm going to pay back on this house, and yes, 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 yada, yada, yada. Yes, HOA fees, yes, I agree to that, da, da, da. Like, it was just a lot of signing multiple copies of the same documents. And then I got copies of all of that, and then my keys. It still didn't really hit me because it just felt like it was supposed to be happening. It felt right, like it felt like it was for me. So I wasn't like overly like shocked about anything, but I was kind of just like, what is happening? This happened so fast. I'm supposed to be in an apartment. I'm supposed to be in a 2-bedroom apartment. That was my journey in buying the house and the reason why I wanted to. The overarching question on how was I able to do this? YouTube. YouTube was the way that I was able to buy this house. I'm just kidding. YouTube was not the reason that I was able to buy this house. I am officially monetized. I got monetized back in November. But no, one day YouTube will be a huge stream of income for me, but no, I have an actual job that has to pay the bills because YouTube is not gonna do it, but one day. And if you feel like there's more unanswered questions, if they're not super invasive or personal, I'm happy to answer them the best that I can based off of my own experience and my own journey. But yeah, just let me know in the comments if there's more things that you guys wanted to know. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to continue staying tuned to this I bought my first house at 22 series. I'm now 23, but I'm keeping the same name just to keep it consistent because I did buy it when I was 22. But yeah, if you guys want to keep up with the series as you see how I'm transforming a lot of the rooms, make sure that you keep watching. And yeah, like I said, just comment down below any requests that you guys have that you think would be interesting videos specifically for the house series. Just let me know. subscribe and come along for the ride. Turn on your post notifications to be updated every time I upload. Yeah, and give this video a thumbs up. Share it with your friends and family. Yeah, but until next time, bye you guys.